Here's an example of how an organization like Prudential Financial did, where they had a disclosure score and they had a performance score. So with a lot of organizations, and this, how they've been getting graded recently is relatively new. For a long time, organizations could just disclose what they were doing, and that was enough, and they would get a good score. Now that they're starting to be graded on performance, most companies are not scoring too well because they want to give people A's, but only if you're actually doing stuff and only if you're actually performing. So this was a case where, in this example where Prudential, this is how they answered one of their questions on their CDP score. Now, I'm not saying Prudential's good or bad, but we see this with our clients all the time. They report to the CDP a few years ago, and they get this great disclosure score, and they feel like, oh, great, we've done it. But they hadn't really set any goals and targets. They weren't really, making impacts on their performance. And then their performance score comes out, and they get D's, or they get C's, or they get F's. And their first reaction is, well, I don't want to do this anymore. Or, I got a bad score, or what I'm doing. That's exactly right. Just think about it when you're in middle school or high school. When you finally got a D or an F, it kind of brought you awake. Oh my God, I need to study more. I need to do more. That's exactly what the CDP wanted to do with the performance score. They wanted people not only to disclose, but they want people to start taking action on what they're doing. And this is becoming commonplace in external reporting. It's no longer okay to just disclose. They want to see how are you actually having a positive impact socially and environmentally. So as you see in this example, here's the description of the regulatory opportunity, the financial implications, and then they're saying, well, we're not being very specific in how, this method is being carried out. Here's another example from Bank of America, where they had a great performance score and a great disclosure score. Now, if you're looking at the text on here, it's obviously very small, but what you see is that they're showing how they calculated their financial implications, what the timeline was, including estimates. They're looking at methods to manage the opportunity. They're providing the cost for managing the opportunity. And you get an understanding of they're really taking this seriously. That's why they scored so well. Now, the CDP is really an opportunity to lead to business value. People say, well, it just seems like another darn thing. All of this external sustainability reporting is just another questionnaire. But I'm going to show you how it can lead to business value. Because institutional investors are using CDP data to not only understand how companies are thinking about climate change, water, and their supply chain, but are they evaluating the risks and are they taking advantage of the opportunities that are out there? For example, Aviva Investors, which is a fund with over 236 billion pounds under management, they use CDP data to ensure that the clients' portfolios not only benefit from the opportunities that are associated with addressing climate change, but avoid the risks, especially the financial risks of extreme weather and climate change. They incorporate the CDP data as a factor in their overall buy, sell, or hold strategy. And sometimes if a company fails to respond to the CDP and they're asking them to, Aviva may vote against the report. More and more institutional investors are doing that. Companies may not even know this is happening, but there's business value out there and it's taking place. Another example where CDP can lead to business value is Cisco Systems, where they were able to utilize the CD response process to actually establish their own baseline and improve their data collection system. Just by going through the process, just like with GRI, you go through the process and you figure out, wow, we don't have a way of getting this data. Let's find the data, let's measure it, let's see how we're doing. This is a way they actually engaged and trained over 100 people worldwide to start feeding the data into their systems that not only provided more accurate data collections, but it helped them understand from a business perspective what their financial implications are on some of these issues, what their emissions were, and as their reporting improved, it enabled them to understand where they're coming from and enabled them to commit to a GHG reduction goal. In summary, the CDP not only provides business value, but for a lot of organizations, it's no longer nice to have, but they need to do it. And so you as someone who's understanding this module, go to the CDP, look at the questions, understand what's involved, and you'll find that you can provide a lot of business value to not only your organization, to other organizations who are trying to go through the external reporting process. By comparing what's in the GRI and the CDP, you start seeing a lot of overlap between the organizations and what they're doing and what are the type of questions are being asked. And it's showing that institutional investors are wanting this, the corporate social responsibility community is wanting this, and this is a way to really use the two together to get your message across.